Alright, let's finish up the DHCP Lab by doing the IP version 6 portion. The first thing that we need to do is turn off that VMware DHCP service again so we can do our testing. So this is on your Windows 7 or your Windows 8 machine. Search for Services. Under the Services, scroll down to the V's. Find the DHCP or the VMware DHCP service and go ahead and stop that. Again, reminder, if you happen to restart the computer at any point in the middle of this lab, you'll have to go back and stop that service again. Okay, the first thing is to set the IP address of your server to this global unicast address, 2001 FEED DAD BEF ::1/64. So I'm going to open up my server here, go into the adapter properties under the Network and Sharing Center, do the properties of the card, properties of TCP/IP version 6, and use the following address. That is 2001 :FEED :DAD BEF ::1 and the /64. No default gateway. The preferred DNS is ourself, so we can use the loopback address if we wanted, or we can type in the global unicast again, 2001 FEED DAD BEF ::1 and hit OK. Just going to go back into the properties, make sure it took, and it did. Okay, once we have a IP version 6 address set, we can now hand out addresses on that network that we are a part of. So it says create an IPv6 scope to hand out addresses on the 2001 feed dad beef ::64 network. Pretty much the same process that we did for the IP version 4. Go into your IP version 6, right click, new scope for IP version 6. The name, I'm just going to give this class lab 2001 feed dad beef ::/64. Next, this here is asking if we want to exclude any addresses like we did with the IP version 4. We will not exclude anything here except for the first address, because we have that assigned to our server. So :1. I'm just going to exclude that. We will keep the lease time as is. We have plenty of addresses with IP version 6, so typically your lease can be longer with IP version 6. Whereas with the IP version 4, you typically don't have as many addresses to hand out, and you may want to lessen that. I'm going to hit next, and we're going to activate the scope now. We're going to set the DNS server option to be the IP address of our server, so that when a computer gets an IP address, an IP version 6 address I should say, they will also get the DNS server along with it. This is actually option 23 for IP version 6, which is the DNS recursive name server. That's the same thing as the DNS server, so that is the IP address of our server, because we have DNS running on this machine. We want the clients to resolve IP addresses or names to IP addresses against us. It's validating to see if DNS is actually running on this machine. And it went ahead and worked there. If for some reason it did not, you would have to go in and take a look at your DNS settings and just verify under your contoso.com that that address of 2001 feed dad beef ::1. Notice here they do the full entire address. They do not do the short and lengthen. This is known as the preferred address. So this address must be corresponding to your server. If that is not there, or you have a different address, that is potentially the error. Windows versions also create a separate address that goes along with that using the EUI64 method, I believe it is. So you'll see that address in there as well, but you need to make sure that the one we statically assigned to the network card is here. Okay, so going back to my scope wizard, I can see right now that I have one lease, and that is to my one client, and that's what I'm excluding. Okay, the next part of the lab says to create a reservation for our server core machine. So the first thing that I need to do is on the server core machine, I need to do an ipconfig/all. I need these two values. I need the DHCP v6 IAID value, and I need the DHCP v6 client DUID value. These are the two values that are used to make the reservation. With IP version 4, we use the MAC address to make the reservation, both DHCP. But with DHCP version 6, we use these two. So I'm going to highlight and Control C that one. I will go into my version 6 scope, right click on reservations, new reservation. I'm going to call this server core. The address I want to get is :cafe IAD. Oh, that didn't work. Looks like I'll just have to type it in manually here, which is fine. 251.661353. The DUID, we cannot have the dashes in there. 0001 000119 BE BE A2000C 29850 B60, and your values are obviously probably going to be different than mine, so make sure you use the correct values. And then you hit add. It goes away, so I know that it worked. I can see that it added it here, added the reservation for server core as 2001 feed dead beef cafe. So I can now go over here, do ipconfig release, then an ipconfig renew. And what I see here is I'm not getting that reservation. This is a known quirk with TCP/IP version 6 and the server operating system. Well, after doing some research, I found a command that we need to run to turn off the router discovery. If you remember how IP version 6 works to get addresses through Slack, it sends out router advertisements and router discovery messages. And for some reason, with Server 2012, we need to turn it off. I'm not sure if this is just a Server 2012 thing, or if you'd have to do this on all Windows operating systems. That command is right here. I'm going to copy and paste it, and if you need it, you can pause the video here, but it needs our interface which is Ethernet. So it disables that. You should get an OK message. So now if I do an IP config release, and a renew, same thing here. So I'm going to do a quick restart. After the restart, it cleared out the cached address in there, and now it got the reserved IP address. The next thing that you would need to do for the lab is take your screenshots. One of the screenshots is going to be the IP config/all. This will show me the IP version 4 address that you got, the subnet mask, the IP version 6 address that you got, our scope options that we set, and everything that we configured. And then you'll need some screenshots over here showing the scopes that you set up for IP version 6 and the reservations. If you get stuck or have any questions, please let me know. Thanks for watching.